Brum bum, brum bum.
You're listening to Talking Marvel. Team Venom, assemble.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the second instalment of Talking Marvel. And this is probably the only one of our series that we're actually going to number because of the fact that we're doing the whole MCU on this one. So for the second one, we're going to talk about the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie.
I don't want
Sound
to.
very enthusiastic, Connor. I'm sorry.
I don't want to.
Well, it's got to happen. We've got to do them all, to be fair. I don't think it's any stretch to say that this is probably the weakest of all the Marvel movies.
I don't think this should
It was
even
still
be
great at the time in comparison to what else was out there.
This shouldn't even be included in the MCU.
Well, we know that it is on account of the fact that friggin' William Hurt's Thaddeus Ross has turned up 3 more times as the same character. So it still counts. So I'll go for the positives, you go for the negatives. Do you want to give us a negative first?
Abomination looks like a bony poop.
Yeah. I mean, do we really... Is this going to be one of those negatives that we don't even need to explain?
No, I mean, that covers it. But, like, here's the thing. Abomination in comics... Hell, they even managed to... They made a video game of this movie.
Yeah, and he looks better.
Yeah, Abomination in that video game, which was PS2...
Yep.
looks fucking great. And then you get the real life version, which this is 2008, so they can't even really use the excuse that CGI is not great, because guess what? Iron Man came out the same year.
I was going to say, Iron Man CGI was fucking spot on. And the Hulk looked great, to be fair, in this film.
Hulk himself looked great, but the look of Abomination, this could sound like a nitpicking con, but I think when you have a film like Hulk, which is quite literally dependent on CGI...
Yeah.
You cannot make the CGI thing that is secondary to Hulk in the importance list look like shit.
Also, where are his fucking ears?
Oh, it's weird. Like, didn't even have the weird gills, did he?
No, this the Abomination in the comics and cartoons and everything else we've seen him in had those big ass friggin' ears. Is almost bat-like things.
Yeah.
In
like
this, he got no ears. He just got holes.
They're like a mix between like bat ears and fish fin looking things.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. That's a solid negative one. So my first positive is the level of fan service we got. Like sometimes fan service works, sometimes it's obvious. This one, the film at times felt like a love letter to Hulk fans until they introduced the Abomination. Then they were like, haha, fuck off, everybody. That's your goodwill out the window. But we had things like, we had Lou Ferrigno turn up. We had, he went into a room and the TV was playing something with Bill Bixby on. And such. There was the voice actor from the 70s Hulk cartoon was the guy with the white hair that you saw him talking to in a pizza place and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So there was all those little bits and stuff there where it was like, we've got 4 Hulks on screen in this film.
Yeah.
So I quite liked that they did that on there. So yeah, that's my positive. So what's your next negative?
My next negative is, I'm just going to say, the supporting cast was not great. Minus, the only person who's managed to be in multiple films, as you mentioned. That is
big old Billy Hurt.
Yeah, that is fair enough. I will give that one. But everyone else was just terrible. It was. There was no on-screen chemistry between the love interest.
Yeah, because the thing is, Liv Tyler's she's not a bad actress or anything like that. And I don't think she was bad in this. I just thought that there was just nothing there between her and Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Like the whole way through, you can't. I just couldn't buy into them as these like.
No, the thing about drop my pen.
And they made her into a terrible person as well. She got a boyfriend and everything who she just fucked off and left.
Yeah, and the thing about Hulk movies, both of them, the previous one and this one, the love interest.
Thankfully, the other one doesn't count.
Yeah, thankfully. The love interest, whether we like it or not, genuinely plays a major part in the storyline of Hulk. And when you have someone who plays such a major part in it, and they are as not a bad actor, so we won't say that, but like there's nothing there between them on screen. Yeah, it's not worth it. Imagine going to see I don't know what's The Notebook. Okay, they make a second Notebook, but they recast the male. Okay,
and the Notebook becomes an iPad.
Technology, folks. Yeah, but then you have a film that is centered around two people being in love, or being together, which, as I say, is a major part of the Hulk. And then they have no chemistry. And
the guy's Gordon Gottfried. Well, let me tell you this, lovey.
Do you mean Gilbert Gottfried?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Gordon Gottfried. Oh my God, it's Gilbert Gottfried and Gordon Ramsay. Right. Beautiful. Seasoned. Love stories. Come in.
That's fucking raw.
Right. I'm bending over. Gorgeous. It's fucking raw. What are we talking about?
What are you? You're an idiot fucking sandwich.
That's what I would say to the writers of this movie.
Yeah. So no,
fuck the cast is what I'm saying. What's your positive?
No, I'll give you that about the cast. My positive was the score and the influence of the TV show, because I was a fan of the old Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby TV series growing up.
Because you're old.
Well, it finished by the time I was born, but it was repeated a lot when I was, a child in the late 80s. But no, it's like one of those things where, I guess because you're a fan of Family Guy as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll appreciate that they had, on the early Family Guys, there was a lot of times where they had Stewie Griffin doing the Incredible Hulk bits, and they had the sad walking away music while he's doing the
he's hitchhiking, yeah.
And that's in the score. That sad walking away music is from that show. They had there's an episode of Family Guy where they do the opening scene from the TV series, like the opening credits and such, where they've got him in the machine that comes over his face, and you get like the cross on it and everything where they're scanning his brain. So they do that in Family Guy perfectly, but they do that in this film as well. So in the Hulk film, you've got the machine that's from the credits, the opening credits of the TV series, and you've got him sat there having this shit go over his face and stuff. Where they've recreated those sorts of scenes, and you had the whole thing of him being on the run, like he was throughout that whole thing, and it worked to a degree, and that was a nice little touch that they tried to go for that sort of theme for it. So yeah.
Yeah, fair play.
So your last negative?
Very simple. Making the army the enemy.
Yeah.
I do understand it to a point, but I've said this about both standalone Hulk films. Making the army the enemy is a low percentage choice. There's a lot of people who just won't get on board with choosing between the hero and the US military, obviously been US viewers. More importantly, it's just a nameless, faceless mass of enemies, and they have no goal except to stop the Hulk. It's just not as interesting as an enemy with a plan. It's bland and it's boring.
Yeah.
The other creature in both Hulk movies is like an afterthought. Put it this way, Godzilla movies were never great, right? Men had no defense against Godzilla, so the best we could hope for was that another creature would come along and would stop Godzilla, or we would realise that Godzilla was actually the good guy when he saved us from
he's taking down another creature. Yeah.
Then Pacific Rim came along. They solved the fundamental problem with big monster movies. Man creates Jaeger's giant robots that put us back into the fight against giant monsters. Avengers Age of Ultron and the comics much earlier did this with Tony Hawk's yeah, mate. Tony Hawk's Pro Skate with Tony's Hulkbuster armor.
We both fucked it.
Yeah, that's what we do. Point is, you have to think outside the box to craft a good standalone Hulk story, and I don't think either of the films have done that. I did like the second better because of several homages to the TV show, like you mentioned. And speaking of TV show, there were a few ideas that could be leveraged for a standalone Hulk film.
I think the other thing that we need to remember as well with this one, Marvel didn't have the control that they have on every other film. This was Universal's baby, but they were still tying in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because Universal had the rights to standalone Hulk films, but had got the deal with Marvel where they could use Hulk in ensemble movies.
Yeah, I also didn't like that Banner was when Banner became a bad guy. I don't remember why, but I remember him narrating saying, in the past, the creature wouldn't kill her because I wouldn't kill her.
It was the ending, yeah.
But now it was different. I'm sure. Well, I know the comics have several stories and villains I could make for an interesting standalone film. But first things first, get rid of the U.S. Army as the main antagonist.
Yeah.
And that right there is going to be the most makes sense and well put.
Yeah.
Pro or con, you will hear from me for the rest of these 25,000 Marvel episodes.
Fair enough. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. So I'll go for my last positive then to finish this off. Robert Downey Jr. putting in an appearance at the end. Yeah. Much like your last positive on the Iron Man one being about the Nick Fury thing. When I saw the Nick Fury thing in Iron Man, it was just like, oh my god, they're going to go with the Avengers. In this one, you had Thunderbolt Ross sat in a bar, drowning in sorrows, and friggin' Iron Man walking in, and you're just like, oh man, they're doing this. That was the part where you're like, the Nick Fury thing teased it, and then this was like, right, we've already put two of them together. We know this is happening now. This is going to be so cool. And I remember watching these at the cinema at the time and just being so hyped for that, thinking the Avengers is going to be friggin' awesome. And it was when it came out, and we'll get to that in like 5 episodes time or whatever it is. But yeah, definitely that's probably the biggest thing for this was the world building of Robert Downey just popping up at the end and being all awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
So we gave Iron Man a 7 out of 7. And
7 out of 7?
No. 7 out of 10.
You okay?
Jesus, man, we're both doing it, man. This is the thing. What would you give Hulk? Well, the Incredible Hulk.
4. Out of push.
Okay. You give it 4. I'll be generous. I'll give it a 6.
Really? One below Iron Man. You think it is only one rating?
Yeah, no, I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, so that's an average of 4.5 out of 10. Sand.
Wonderful. We will see you guys next time where we discuss Iron Man 2.
Yeah, boy. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed it, check us out on Twitter at @King_Roaster and at the Connor Franks, and also at Team Venom Media 1, which is pretty much just there. But
it's just there so that we can have the name, really.
This is it, yeah. So, yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and catch you later.